All right, we're here to go over the final exam review pages and address anything that that people have been asking for. And I think in going through the review, it pretty much addresses most everything that people have asked in the discussion board. So I'm just going to go through the review page and explain things, and hopefully that'll help everybody be more prepared for the test. So I've only briefly looked at these, so hopefully I will not do anything embarrassing and get any wrong answers here. But you all should have the answer key as well. But I'll just kind of talk to everything and hopefully just explain it a little bit better. So let's just start with number one. We'll go from here. Number one, with an electrical circuit, what does a diode do? So a diode is a little electronic circuit or electronic component that allows the electricity to go one direction but not the other. It's like a one-way road. So let's see if any of these have to do with that. Doesn't store electricity allow electricity to flow in only one direction? There we are. Just like that. All right. Number two, what does a power supply in a computer do? A power supply is what converts your AC electricity out of your wall into DC, which is what electronics uses. So let's see if we have that here. Perform calculations, that would be the CPU. Convert AC to DC. There we go. Just like that. Temporarily store data, that would be RAM. Accept user input, that would be like your keyboard or your mouse. Just to go over these, act as an automated switch, that would be a transistor. Resist the flow of electricity would be a resistor because it resists. And temporarily store electricity, that would be a capacitor. Okay, next one. What are two tags that should appear in the head of every HTML5 document? So we need two of them. The head, no, that can't be it because we're asking for things that are inside the head. Meta, the meta tag is one. Title, we have to have a title tag inside the head tag. And doc type, that is not one. The doc type is what goes on top of the HTML5 document. So it's just B and C. Okay, I'm going to change my mode here so that I can write down answers. Okay. Write the HTML tag and its attributes for creating a div, which can be used for output from JavaScript. If you don't remember what this is, you have countless assignments that have div tags in them. So just go look at one. But it's basically this. Div ID is equal to, I always call it output div. Just like that. That's your typical div tag. ID could have been anything. I just chose that because I usually use that. Okay. What does parse int function do? It turns a string into an integer. So it parses the string and turns it into an integer. So converts a string into an integer. Just like that. Okay. Given the following JavaScript code, what, if anything, will the computer output for the users to see? Okay. So x is 3, y is 7. If x is greater than y, so that's like saying if 3 is greater than 7, 3 is not greater than 7, so we don't go inside this block, we just come out to the else, and it says alert terrible. So what is it going to output? It's going to output terrible exclamation. Make sure it's exactly the same. I really should be looking. Yep. I should be looking at the answer key just to make sure I'm not leading any of you astray as I do these. Okay. Good. If it had been 7, if x had been 7 and y had been 3, then it would be, then it'd go in here because 7 is greater than 3. Then it'd ask if 7 is greater than or equal to 5, which it is. So then it would say wonderful. But it's not. X was 3, y was 7. This is terrible. Okay. Given the following JavaScript code, what will the value of result be? Okay, so 7, 3, 11. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to replace these numbers as I type. So A is a 7. We're going to add it to B times C, which is 3 times 11. Subtract A, which is 7, multiplied by C, which is also 11, then modulus 2. Okay, so let's start doing our order of operations. Multiply and modulus are in the same, they're on the same level. So we go left to right on those. So we'll leave the addition for now. Do 3 times 11, which is 33. Then subtract 7 times 11, which is 77, modulus 2. Okay, so we need to do the modulus part next. So that'd be 7 plus 33 minus, it's an odd number, and as we've done in lots of different assignments, if you mod it by 2, odd numbers have a remainder of 1, even numbers have a remainder of 0. So it'd just be 1. So 7 plus 33, that'd be 40, minus 1, which would be 39. Okay. Now I'm going to look at paper. Yes, 39. Success. Okay. Go on to the next page. Okay, given the following JavaScript code, how many times will the computer display the word ice? So we have a loop here, and it's a do loop. That means it goes through and does whatever's in the inside the braces, and then it does a check to see if it needs to fall out. So var I is equal to 7, so I is 7. All right. So the first thing it does is says ice one time, then it adds 1 to 7, so that would make I 8. Is 8 less than or equal to 14? It is. So I'm just going to go over here and say, put a 1 here every time we do this. So when I is 8, ice is done once. So it comes through here, does it again. It becomes 9. 9 is still less than. So it comes through here, does it again. I becomes 10. 10 is still less than 14. Comes through, does it again. I is now 11. Okay, comes through again. I is now 12. Comes through, does it again. I is now 13. Comes through, does it again. I is now 14. Comes through and does it again. Now I is 15, and it breaks out. So how many times do we go through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So the answer would be 8. Let me look at the paper. Yes, it is 8. Okay, another way you could have done it is just kept track of the value of I. So instead of doing all these ones, you could have done something like this. It's like I starts out at 7, then I is equal to 8, I is equal to 9, I is equal to 10, better start over here again, I is equal to 11, I is equal to 12, I is equal to 13, and I is equal to 14. And then it does it one more time, making I equal to 15. And then it falls out. So when I is 7, Did I count that right? So I is 7, then it becomes 8, and then so instead of starting with 7, so in between each of these is when you actually print out an ice. So, and there is an ice here, there's an ice here, an ice here. An ice here, there's an ice here, there's an ice here, an ice here, an ice here, an ice here, and an ice here. And an ice here, sorry. So that'd be 3, 7, 8. So there's a total of 8 ices. Whichever way works best for your mind. Okay. Okay, what does the JavaScript keyword break do? Break jumps you out of the of any loop that you're in. So it stops a loop, or you can say, or iterations, something like that. So if you're in a loop and you hit a keyword of break, it just falls out of the loop. Okay, given the following function definition, so they give us a function. So now it's going to call that function with some values in it, and then we're going to say what it returns. So 8 gets put into the x, 2 gets put into the y, and y, which is 13, gets put into the c. Now they try to confuse you a little bit. It's like, because this is a y and this is a y, but these are different y's. This y is inside of this part of the code, and this y is only used inside of this part of the code. So that they call that scope. So y, this y right here is only valid in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the values. So we have, actually, let's do it right here. So x is equal to 8, y is equal to 2, and z is equal to 13. And I'm inconsistent. I need to put spaces in there just for my OCD. Okay. So now we just have to plug it in. So that's the same as saying 8 times 3 plus 2 minus 13. Order of operations and all that. That gives us, sorry, my thing is covering it. There we go. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 2 minus 13. So we'll just put the equals here. 24 plus 2 is 26 minus 13, so that'd be 13. So the answer would be 13. Looking at the thing to make sure I'm not leading you all astray. Yes, the answer is 13. Okay. Number 11. So we're given a list of 5, 12, 2, 9, 7, and 0. What is the value of list where it's addressing the length divided by 2 plus list with the address of 4? Okay. So first of all, let's do this stuff right here so we know what we're looking at here. So list times list, the length of the list is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I'll just put 3 right there. So now we have list sub 3. So that's 0, 1. Don't forget that arrays start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's like the same as saying, I'll put it over here. List sub 3 is 9, and then we're adding list sub 4, which would be 7. And we all know what that equals, 16. So the answer should be 16. Checking the answer, it is 16. Good. So now we have kind of a desk check thing going on here. Unfortunately, it spans 2 pages, so that's not fun when you're trying to do this. But let's see what we can do here. So we're just test checking the following code. Doggone it. I wish this wasn't spanning 2 pages. That would have made it a lot easier. Alright, let's just do the best we can here. Okay, first one we want. Good grief. So we have J, sum, and sum SQ. So at least I'll put that up here. So we got J, sum, that was the other one? Sum SQ. Sum SQ. Okay, just so I can remember. Okay, J starts out as 7, sum is 0, so it's 7, 0, 0 across. 7, 0, 0. Okay. Okay, J is less than 11, which it is, because it's 7. So sum is 7 mod 3. So it's 7 divided by 3. That'd be 6. So that'd be 2, remainder of 1. So sum is, first time around, it is, we're adding, taking what it's already at 0 and adding 1, because 7 mod 3 is a 1. The remainder would be 1. So on the next line, sum is 1. Then it comes in here, 7 is greater than 9. No, it's not, so we're falling out. So sum SQ is still 0. Okay. Okay, so now we increment. We may increment J by 1. So now J is 8. So let's go see what sum is. So now it's 8 mod 3, which is 3, 6, so that remainder of 2 this time. So we already have, sum is already equal to 1, so 1 plus 2 is 3. So coming down here, 3. And then is 8 greater than 9? It is not. So it comes out. So our sum SQ is still 0. Okay, so now J is 9. I'm going to put that in here. 9. 9 mod 3 is 0, so sum still stays 3, because 3 plus 0 is 0. Or sorry, 3 plus 0 is 3. Sorry this isn't more smooth, with it being on different pages. 9 is not greater than 9, so sum SQ is still 0. Okay. So now comes up, and now J is 10. Let's go ahead and do that. 10. So 10 mod 3, we have a remainder of 1. It's 3, 6, 9 with 1 left over. So that's 3 plus 1 is 4. Now 10 is greater than 9, so now we have sum SQ is 10 times 10, which is 100. Whoops, wrong direction. Okay, comes through. Now we're at 11. J becomes 11, but J is no longer less than 11, is not less than 11. So it falls out of the loop. So let's see what we've got going on here. All right, now I'm going to compare my cheat sheet here. So we got 7, 0, 0, then 1, then 8, 3, 0, 9, 3, 0, 10, 4, 100, and 11. Oh, man, that's a miracle. I didn't think thought for sure I was going to make a mistake on that one. Just flashing back and forth between the different pages. It's crazy. All right, cool. So that's the answer. So you just step through it. Okay, let's see what's next. All right, this is like part B of the quiz, of the test, where you're actually writing some JavaScript. So, it says write a JavaScript function named reverse list. That takes one parameter named the list. The function should return a list with the elements in the opposite order of the list. For example, if the function were invoked as follows, reverse list 1, 4, 2, 7, 9, it should have a value of 9, 7, 2, 4, 1. All right. Yep, that's the whole question. So, for this, I'm going to fire up my trusty text editor. You shouldn't just try to write this function and assume it's going to be okay, because it's not going to happen. You need to test it out. So, get your text editor going on here. Delete everything I had before. Okay. So this is just some code I had from before. Do it. It's going to be named my overall function. Do it. Okay. So we need to write a quick function here. Function do it. Okay, do it. All it's going to do is perform what's going to happen. Oh, we also need a div tag, so we can output div id equals output div. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Now the function that we're supposed to be writing is called, make sure we get this right because it matters, reverse list. So with a capital L over here. So reverse list. And it passes in an array. I think it told us what it called the list. Okay. List. Okay. So what it wants us to be able to do is pass in an array with some numbers in it. So let's call it list is equal to 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way we know what it's supposed to look like when it's backwards really easily. Then we're going to get element by ID, output div dot inner HTML is equal to another for our list is equal to first list. I'm going to pass in the list. Okay, so this is what we did. So do it comes up to this function. We create a list of an array of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we pass that variable into the reverse list function, and we get the result here in our list. And then we do then we output it to the inner HTML. this should just give us when you output an array, it just gives you a comma separated list. Okay. So what we want to do then inside this function is we need equals an array of size the list dot length, or is it dot, yeah, length. Maybe it's having trouble because I misspelled list. Yeah, there it goes. All right. So we have a new array of the exact same size. So now what we're going to do is go through each element of the list and then return our list. So we're going to store all the new ordered array into this new array called our list. So now let's do our for loop. So for var I, so we want it to go backwards because we're doing a reverse list. So I'm going to start with r is equal to the list dot length minus 1, because even though the length is 1, 2, 5, the last element is actually 4 because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The addresses start with 0. So this I is going to hold the index that I'm on. And so I want it to start with the last index, which is 4, not the length of 5. So while I is greater than equal to 0, then I minus minus. Okay. So now I'm going to take our list. So we need two variables to keep track of. So if we have the list sub I, what are we going to have? We're going to have it go each one in reverse order. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it's going to fall out. But in our list, we need it to have a index going from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to create another variable called j start at 0. So now our list sub j is equal to the list sub I. Now we need j to increase. Okay, so here's what's going on. So we have two indexes going on. We have one that's counting from 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. It hits every element of the array, but backwards. Then we have another variable that holds the index going forward. So it would be 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the index for your reverse list. So when we go through this, it'll go, so the first time through it'll say, okay, the list sub 4, and we're going to put it in reverse list sub 0. Then the next time through, we'll have the list sub 3, because it's going backwards, and we're going to put it into the reverse list sub 1, because it's going forwards. And it continues until you're all done, and then your R list is built up, and that's what you return. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and now I'm going to test it. I'm not going to put my function, submit my function in the test until I've actually tested it to make sure it actually works. So, which is why I set this up at all. Alright, so now let's go to this HTML desktop. Where do I hide this stuff? Test is in, oh, it's just right here. Where Snake could have bit me. Alright, do it. So let's go ahead. Open up my developer tools so I can see what's going on. put my breakpoint right here at the very top of the do it function, and then I'm going to hit the button. So we've got our list. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to step into the reverse list. So we have our undefined variable. We're going to make it of the same size. So now we have another. We have an array of size 5. That's what this says, and it says it's empty. And then we have our variable j equals 0. So now we're into our loop. So we want I to start with 4, right? So let's look. I is 4. So the list, sub 4, which has the value of 5, we're going to put into our list, sub 0. So now our list has a 5 in the address of 0. So now we're going to increase the our list index by 1. So now j has the value of 1. So now we're going to go through again. So now our list has first address 0 has 5, address 1 has a 4, which is what we're expecting because we want 5, 4. We're increasing our j index by 1, and we're decreasing the I index by 1. So now I is 2 and j is 2. But it's the same this time. They're crossing in the middle. One more time. So now our array says 5, 4, 3. That's what we want. We want to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the end. So we'll go through again. J has the index of 3. I has an index of 1. So they're going past each other because j keeps increasing and I keeps decreasing. So now our array has 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, now j is 4, that's our last index, and I is 0, that's our last index, and our list, reverse list, says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's exactly what we're after. So it falls out because now we're less than 0. So now we're going to return that array back to our do it function. So now our list up here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to output that to our inner HTML. And it says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we'll just let it go. So now that we know that our function works, what do we turn in? Well, the question asks for write a function in a reverse list. That means all it wants is the function. It doesn't want all the HTML around it. So we'll go into here and we'll take from the start of the function to the end of the function, copy it, go into here, and we'll paste it. So it's just the function. And that would be the answer to that. So let me compare it to what the answer key says here. So it looks like they did differently, but that's okay. My way works too. Oh. Let's see, so they start with a empty array. Okay, so they use the push. So instead of declaring the array at the very beginning of the size that you want, they use the push to kind of increase the size of the array every time. So they have a return value, a variable called retval, and it's an empty array. Then it goes through gotcha. Let's see what they did. So I'll put I wouldn't bother. You all have the answer key so you can see what it says. But they have, so they're building their return array element by element by using the push method. And so each time they go through, they go through the passed in array from backwards and forwards like we did. And then each time we just push that value onto the return val array. And so it kind of builds it up one element at a time, starting with 5, then it goes 4, 3, then 2, then 1. That's completely valid. It may be even a little simpler than the way I did. It's not as efficient because anytime you use the push, there's a lot of stuff going on back in the behind the scenes to make that array grow, but it doesn't matter because that's not what the question asked for. They didn't ask for the most efficient way. They just asked for something that works, and this definitely works. So mine works, and the one on the answer key works. So either way that you guys thought to do it, it'll be just fine as long as it gets the right answer. Okay. Last question. Write a JavaScript function called overachievers, which takes one parameter, a list named numbers, and returns the count of how many elements of the list are greater than the first element of the list. So use the following header. So it tells us how to the header of our function. So let me read that again so I understand all the way. It takes one parameter called a list, and they call it numbers, and returns the count of how many elements of the list are greater than the first. So the first element would be number sub 0, the address of 0. Whatever number's there, you're supposed to count all the rest of them to see how many are more than that number. Okay, that makes sense. So let's go back to our test HTML here. So this time we're creating a function. So we have our do it again. I'm going to create this list numbers, and we're going to call this count. And what was the function called? Overachievers. Over big A achievers. We're going to pass in this numbers into here. Oops. And then our output is going to be count. So it'll just do the count. So let's pretend that maybe it's a test that was offered, and we're going to do the first element of 80. So the first element is 80, and we want to count how many elements in the rest of the array are greater than 80. So let's do 90, 60, 85, 95, 100, do some more below 80, 76, 25, somebody just didn't study, and then another 100, and let's do 79, just barely missed it. Let's do an 80, because that's a good test case. Okay, we'll call it that. So now, in order to know what number we're looking for, let's go through and count how many are greater than 80. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So I'll just put that in the comments here. Answer should be 5. All right. So now we need to write our function. Overachievers. Numbers. Okay. I'm going to keep track of our count. going to start at 0. Now we're going to go through I is equal to 1, and I'll explain why here in a second. I is less than numbers dot length numbers dot length I plus plus, but we don't want numbers dot length. We need length minus 1 because these are indexes, so it's the last index is 1 less than the length. Okay, so now we'll do a quick if statement. If numbers sub I is greater than numbers sub 0, if that happens, we're going to count to increment. Okay, so why did I start I at 1 instead of 0, which would be the beginning of the array? Because we don't want to count the first number. The first number is where we find the number that we're comparing everything to. We want to start at the second number, which is in index of 1, and go all the way through to the end. But the first number is only the one that we're comparing it to. So we start at 1, we go to length minus 1, our length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so that's addresses 0 through 10, so length minus 1 would be 10, then we're increasing I by 1 each time. Then each time, so the first time numbers sub 1, we're going to check to see if it's greater than number sub 0, which is the one that we're comparing to, and if it is, then we increase our increment, or we increment our count. Then at the very end, we need to return whatever's in count, just like that. Let's go and check it. So I'm going to refresh this. My breakpoint's still here, but we can see our code is different. Okay, we're expecting the number 5 when it comes out. So click on do it. It stops at the first one. So numbers is that whole array. So now we're going to step into the overachievers function. So numbers is that same array. Good. Count starts at 0. So we start our for loop. So if numbers sub 1, which is a 90, is greater than numbers sub 0, which is an 80, 90 is greater than 80, so we're going to increase our count. So now count is 1. And then go to the next one. Numbers sub 2, is 60 greater than 80? It is not. So we skipped over count. So it went back up to the for loop. Now is numbers sub 3. 85, is that greater than 80? It is. So we should increment the counter, which we did. So we can keep going. We're at 4, numbers sub 4, 95 greater than 80? It is. So count increments. So what number are we on now? 5. So numbers sub 5, 100. That should also increment the counter. Number sub 6, 76 should not. We should be skipping over that. Okay, we did. Number sub 7 is 25. It's not over 80, so it skips it. Good. Number sub 8 is 100, so we should count that one. Number sub 9 is 79. We should not count that one. We don't. And again, numbers sub 10. I got a little carried away, but it skipped over 2. So now we're returning count of 5. We'll just go ahead and run it. And that's our answer, 5. So what did the question ask from us? Write a function. So don't include any of the JavaScript. Just go in here, copy your function, come in here, and you paste it. So if it asks for the function, just give it the function. Don't give it any HTML. If it asks for a program, or if it mentions HTML at all, include everything. But if it just wants the function, just include the function. Okay, so that's the end of the practice exam, the practice review, final review. Sorry, it's getting late. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, email me, or even better yet, ask me on the discussion board so that other people can see your question and the answer and learn from it as well. And I hope you guys all do great, and please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions. So good luck.